you today, and as always, I say thank you very, very much. Because if you're hearing me now and looking at me, it means that you have elected to be with us here on NCC TV, and we get up every morning bright and early, all fired up, ready to come to work, to share different things with you. And today I share very good news for the young people of Trinidad and Tobago, because many of them have been given the opportunity to participate in a program which is part of, I would have to say, the community police work. And it's a wonderful effort. And not only are we going to talk with 2 officers today who are connected to the program, but I have 5 of the youngsters, I have to call them. They're not children, they've gone past being little ones, and they're going to tell me about their personal experience in the program and how in fact it is helping them. I understand that one of them actually graduated recently. So I think it will be of interest to each and every one of you. Firstly, I want to introduce Constable Cyril Lang. He is with the Fyzabad Police, and that is part of their DARE program. And thank you very much for coming. And you know, we people who come from Port of Spain always say all the way from Fyzabad to visit, but it's good to have you here. And then once again, we welcome this Officer Haynes Fraser, who is the Acting Assistant Superintendent of Police, Community Police Secretariat, and I believe someone who is very, very responsible in setting up this drug abuse resistance education. That's what the DARE program is. So nice to have you here again.
Thank you very much, Alison. Pleasant morning to the national community.
Yes, and you're looking really happy, so it means that the program is going well.
Very excited, going very well. We had 2 graduations recently, one at Clark Rochard Government School, one at St. Christopher's Government School in Separia. They were both great graduation. The students participated, they share what they learned in the program. The teachers and the principals supported the program. They talk about the fact that they want this program to continue in their schools. So I'm very much excited about the success of the DARE program at the primary and the secondary schools.
All right, well, we have to, and we do understand that there's some people who don't look at the program every day. And so we just really need to go over a little bit about the DARE program, the history, the background, how it all came about, and you know, what are the sort of major objectives of having this project?
Well, the DARE program was founded in Los Angeles in 1983 by the Los Angeles Police Department along with the schools in the district. And over the years, from 1985, they did a review of the program. At this point in time, in America alone, all states, all 51 states in America have now embraced the program. Almost 78 countries around the world embrace the DARE program. DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. It's a program designed to equip students at the primary and secondary schools about knowledge about drugs, the abuse of drugs, the harmful effects about these drugs. They're talking about marijuana, cocaine, alcohol, and tobacco. Also provide the students with resistance skills to resist the pressures of using drugs. They've been pressured by their peers. How do they say no? How to resist those pressures or influence to use drugs? It's also the program also provides opportunity for the students to learn how to resolve conflicts, disagreements without using violence. So be given all these assertive skills to respond to these pressures. The program is a 10-lesson program, then taught at school at least once per week. Each lesson about 60 minutes or so. The students are given a workbook, a student workbook, which probably want to show you know why.
Okay.
And this one is for the primary level student. And every lesson being taught, the student be given the workbook to do exercises through the book and through group discussion, role plays. They work in teams and in pairs. The program really help them make better decisions, make wise decision about how do I resist the pressures of using drugs and get involved in violence and so on.
You know, I think when we think about drug education and alcohol education, I am firmly of the belief that what is being done is the correct thing. The earlier you get to the children, the better. But you know, I think sometimes parents may feel, my kid, Mitchell, are a little too young to be given this burden of talking and hearing too much about things like drug and alcohol abuse. Why do you agree with me on the point that it's never too early?
As we have found out, evidence have shown in the school system that the number of our young people, the youths at a very early age, at the primary level, are being influenced to use drugs and substance abuse. And it's very early for them to make that quality decision about the harmful effects of drugs. We have had a recent survey from the Ministry of Social services which were done by NADA, and they have shown evidence of the fact that a number of students are using tobacco, alcohol, and using marijuana. It's a major problem, and this is where the police service has now partnered with the Ministry of Education to ensure that the police service brings some sort of intervention into helping our students at that early age. It's critical that we reach those young people at that age. We cannot wait until late when already, addicted to the drugs and hard to say no, hard to get off. We have seen a number of our students who, some have been arrested, brought to the police stations, and we have to call the parents to talk with them in some instances. Some are played before the court, and you're talking about children's future. If you're a child at that age for drugs, you're talking about your character. And that certificate of character will show that you have been convicted for drugs. It affects your future very early.
So that it is a matter of parents having to face the fact that this is something that their children are being faced with at a very early age. I mean, in my time, we would never have imagined at that early age that, you would have had the problem of being offered drugs in schools. But it's happening today, and parents have to face it. So this type of help is excellent. Perhaps, Constable Lane, you could tell us about the Faizabad experience that you have with the children.
Well, in the Faizabad area, we have a lot of parents who use drugs, and this program helped with the children taking the message to their parents. At the last graduation in Faizabad Presbyterian, one child wrote that she took the book home, the workbook, and explained it to the parents, and they stopped using the drugs.
Okay.
So this message also reached to the parents also.
Parents as well, yes. All right. You said at the last graduation, so I guess your program, DARE program, has been in, which school is it? Which Faizabad school?
Faizabad Presbyterian, that was completed last year.
Okay.
About 35 children graduated.
And was that the first DARE program
Yes, that
in
was
the
the
Faizabad
first,
area?
that was the first one.
How many children started off in the program?
But in different schools, approximately 200 children, because we had 4 schools.
Yes. And I'm trying to work out how it happens. The 4 schools all attend at the same time?
No. What happened is that the principal, the teachers, they select children for this course.
Okay.
So, we get about 30, 40 around that in different schools.
And you would then go to the school?
Yes.
Do you go alone, or is it a team of police officers?
Alone.
You go alone?
Yes. And we get cooperation with the teachers, because to conduct this course, the teachers must be present. At least one teacher will be present.
I think we have an ideal opportunity now to give everybody an idea of how you conduct the class. So you go in and you introduce yourself. You have to win the support of the children and the attention of the children. So how do you go about this?
Right, well, we go there with the teacher, introduce ourselves, tell them, give them a brief rundown about the program, and the children, they seem to be very interested, because we set that program a certain day, certain time, and every time they say, okay, their time, we say, what time it is, their time, and you see the children will be coming with their books, their books. They keep these workbooks, and they'll be coming and they'll be very interested, because sometimes they call, when is their program again, and they seem to be very interested.
Okay. So in the beginning, you just give them a small lecture on drug and alcohol abuse?
Yes, and then every lesson we talk about different things. Like one lesson we talk about alcohol, next day we talk about marijuana abuse, tobacco abuse, It's a 10-week program.
Are these children well informed? I mean, before you start talking to them, are you surprised at their knowledge of drugs and alcohol?
Yes, well, at first we ask them, like, what is a drug, Because we also explain to them that there are good drugs and bad drugs. Good drugs are medicine, Panadol and such, and bad drugs are alcohol. And we also influence them that alcohol and tobacco, they must be over 18 as the legal age to use that, although it is a legal drug on the market, but they must be over 18 years.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get an opportunity to talk to the students to find out, what they thought about drugs and alcohol before you managed to get to them and talk with them. I'm very interested in this book that you have brought in, and perhaps we could just explain how the teaching goes as you use the book. So this book is given to every student. They
Yes,
each
yes,
get one.
yeah.
Okay. And just help me here. This is the first.
Okay, right. That's the contents, and then we turn on the
Okay,
next
I have
page.
to turn. Hold on.
To the their rules. We have
Alright.
strict rules, you know. We especially those say John used drugs or whatever, someone I know. We have the quiet signal, you don't disturb the class. We have specific rules to follow.
Okay.
Yes.
So these are the rules here.
Yes,
Five different
five rules, yes.
that every single student attending has to
Yes,
understand. They
yes.
have to obey these rules.
Yes, that's the
in other words, officer, you're not here to squeal on people. You're
That's
here to
right.
learn.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
We're not asking for that kind of help as yet. Use the word someone I know instead of a person's name. Answer only the questions that you feel comfortable with. So nobody's asking you to go beyond and get anybody into trouble, which is, I think,
right.
so important.
With that decision-making model, if you could turn on the flap,
Which flap, sir?
there's a flap in the front here, right?
Okay.
Okay. So at all different problems, we show them how to define the situation, assess, respond, to evaluate. And this will also help them in life to make decisions and make healthy choices.
And this is what DARE is
yes,
all about.
yes.
Okay. Let me just see. I'm just trying to see how the lessons work in your
Yes.
in your day of teaching. Let's say you take this one, the tobacco
All right,
worksheet. Okay. This
tobacco.
is one that's people are always interested in,
Yes,
tobacco.
We
Okay.
show them the facts about tobacco, the harmful effects, tobacco, the poisons in tobacco. And then on this page, they will fill out the worksheet. From what they learn there, they will just fill in the blanks as to what they learn about tobacco, the dangers of tobacco.
Now, this is a course that the children, thank you very much. This is a course that the children have literally either volunteered to attend or the headmasters decide, the headmistresses decide, the principals, these are the students because they can't all come. So how are they chosen?
Well, after speaking with the principal at the school, the principal have some discussion with his teachers, teaching staff, and because this the primary school is target in more the standard 4 students or standard 3. So after the teacher would have spoken with the principal, they agree, okay, this particular class is the appropriate class could accommodate the program. So it started some discussion, and they felt if this particular class that students really need help, or they have particular issues in terms of maybe violence and so, they make the decision, and then okay, the officer goes in and send letters out to the parents informing them that the program is going to start with that particular class, and so on.
It was interesting, officer, that you said that this program started in LA. Yes. So that it was brought here to Trinidad and Tobago, and officers like yourself, Constable, have been trained to do this
Yes.
program. Where did you get
We
the
were
training?
trained at Cascadia Hotel in January by the officers from America. We had officers from Tennessee, from Texas. We had the deputy sheriff, and we were glad to get that kind of experience. And we were trained there. We graduated, and then we went out in the field and started work immediately. Immediately.
And you know, I guess that we always talk about situations here in Trinidad and Tobago and situations everywhere. It all boils down to the problems exist, don't they? Right there throughout the world. The same problems
Yes,
with drugs
it's a unique
and
situation.
alcohol. Yes.
A unique situation, and we try to get to the youths because we feel as all this crime situation come up now, the problem, if we could get to the youths, we would be at least making a dent in this whole problem with crime.
And it's interesting what you said about the child who went home to her parents and showed them the book. And they decided that, you know, they would stop using drugs because they realized the effects.
And even to add, the child, she said that she was thinking that if she was going to be an alcoholic or a drug addict as the parents, she said, so this probably saved her.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, you almost feel very good about yourselves when you hear, you know, stories like this coming out of it. The bit about conflict management, I think, is also important. I mean, all of us, including Alison, me, had a little fight at school.
Right.
You know, and I guess that, thank God, you have to look back and say, well, thank goodness it wasn't too bad and it didn't end up in the courts and I didn't hurt anybody or nobody hurt me. But do we have a lot of problems with this in schools?
We have a lot of problem with in school in terms of violence and, you know, how these students resolve these disagreements. You have instances where students will maybe go to school with maybe knives, and in an effort to resolve these disagreements, sometimes form themselves into gangs. So again, you know, in an effort to support their peers support them, there's, gangs in schools, so that you do have the tendency of students to resolve issues using weapons. And again, the program, the DARE program, has components in it to help these students to identify who's a true friend, how to know a true friend, the qualities of a friend, and to make better decisions about using a weapon to resolve a disagreement. So we have these incidents happening in our schools.
Yeah. And I do believe that, television, movies, books, video games are playing such an